Okay, so I just thought I would share with you, this is a 84-inch round table that I have here. That's pretty much got the same finish and the same sheen as your table. I can see if I could just show you this so you can sort of see. See the way the sheen is very, very, very close to the same, okay? So the polishes that I suggested you use, one I gave you Guardsman. We use this because it's pretty much got the same solids in it, and it's easier and a lot cheaper, but it's going to do exactly the same thing. We've compared them side by side. So all we're doing on this table, as you can see, this table, all I'm doing is spraying this table. I think we suggested you got the pump version of this. And you can see it's just like a gentle polish. And what this is going to do is it's probably going to take off that very, very surface emulsion on the table, which is like literally right from the factory. And it's kind of, this would be the first thing you could do. You're not going to hurt your table by polishing it out with some Guardsman, or I strongly suggest this stuff too. It's embarrassing to tell people to go to the home store and get a dollar can, but that's pretty much the same thing, But Guardsman, whatever you want, okay. And when you're done with this, you're just going to even out things. And if there are fingerprints, you're going to be able to get them out with that. Okay. That's going to do a fair amount of evening. Getting things even on your table. I'm going to try. You can't see it on the camera, but it is going to take off a little bit. It's just going to make things just a little cleaner on your table and a little bit more even. Okay. But now what'll happen is over the years and over time, if you're sliding things on your table, you're eventually going to end up with little marks that your eyes are going to catch these things. Matte is nice if you don't want glossy, right? It's very diffusing, but you're going to see that you will eventually get like little shiny spots. It all depends on how sensitive your eye is, to these things. Now I'm going to show you quickly here. Like here is a spot that's like it looks like a little spot that it was rubbed or something. You can see it right there, right? But if you also look closely, you'll see those cut lines. You see all those cut lines that are going. Let me zoom out here. They're all going this way, right? So if you look really carefully, you can see those lines, right? So that's what I was saying in the email. What you could do is what I'm going to show you next. I'm going to get a little steel wool, and I'm going to follow those cut lines, and let's see how well I can get that mark to blend in, okay? Okay, so this is the 4.0 that I was talking about, okay? And I'm gonna follow the same lines, and I'm not putting any pressure on this. I'm literally doing this like it's the weight of my hands, very, very lightly. And I'm gonna roll my eyes through that and see if I can get, I'm gonna just go over this with my little fingers, keep my fingers right over that little spot. Right? I'm always staying in the same direction as those cut lines. And I'm gonna get my eyes down there really, really tiny. And I'm not doing much pressure. You can slowly add pressure. You're not gonna hurt the table. And every time I do a little something, I come back and I feather it out. And I always stay, and you can go, like, you're not gonna hurt your table as long as you're going gentle. Okay. Okay. So now you can see my cut lines, like you can't even see my cut lines. And that whole thing, of course you could see it, but you're not. It's not going to bother you as you're walking in a room. It's not going to be brought to your eye. You could also come in here and you can do a little bit more. Okay, now I'll show you a little trick I've learned over the years. Sometimes you just got to come over and hit once or twice in an opposite direction and then come back and do it gentle. Sometimes you just need to do that sometimes. Maybe this is one of those times. Or very gently. And I'm keeping my eyes rolling in the light. Oh yeah, it's looking really good. Now this was not a little scuff like you guys were showing me. This was actually, like, if I looked at it, it was more of a scratch. So if you have just like a shiny spot, like I'm gonna see like those little areas, like you have a shiny spot, then the steel wool will, like, just once or two passes and you literally, it brings it back. But see the way the sheen is very even. Okay. Now I'll go one step further here and I'm going to show you that cream. Okay, so this is that the 3M rubbing compound, and you see the way this removes grade 1200 and finer scratches. Okay, this is a relatively coarse cream, and I use, it's the coarse color. It's the coarse cream because it's not white. Usually your very fine polishes are white, and the ones that are like this tan color are usually a little less. Now the trick with this is, sometimes I'll just use my finger. I can't even find that spot. I'm having a hard time finding it, but I know this is right in here. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll use my fingers, and this is pretty much doing the same thing as the steel wool. It's just a finer cut, And I'm going to rub my fingers on that a little bit. I don't want to go hard because what'll happen is this can turn into something shiny again, Oh, that came out good. I could see. If you start pushing hard, I always use this polish to bring me back. Wow, that came out really good. It's like pretty much gone. I could do it again because I like where it's going. See, I like to do everything very slowly and very lightly because then you can see progress, and as soon as you get there, you can stop. If I was to just go here, I could rub this table out aggressively with this compound, but then the whole table will be, I'll bring the sheen up too much too fast, and then I'll have a shiny spot here, and then I have. So again, I'm just kind of going back and forth. I'm kind of treating that just like steel wool, and I'm just going to wipe this up. I'm not going to apply much pressure because the more pressure you put, then the shiny, you're going to start to buff it. And we're not trying to buff it. We're still blending. Well, that came out amazing. I'm so glad I did this for you. Yeah. Now, this was a worst case scenario because this was actually a scratch. You have a smudge. You have a glossy spot. So your table, you could fix with a lot less. That is completely 100% gone. That's what you're dealing with on a matte finish. Now, I'm in a white warehouse with white ceilings and fluorescent lights. So, this is not a dining room. If I was to if I was to clean all this up now with my polish, which I have to do because this table is sold, I'm going to end up going across this whole table. I'm going to polish it all out, and you'll have a nice, even matte finish. So that's pretty much how I am handling matte finishes. So whether it's scratches, whether you just have a smudge, your matte finish is going to be kind of handled the same way. I'm not a big fan of matte finishes because they're a lot more difficult to maintain, or I should say, they're a lot more difficult to keep perfect. But some people just, they don't want anything glossy. But I'm very happy with it. I'm coming around this thing. I can't even find it. I can't even find that spot. So I'm going to come in here and wipe all this. You can see, which, by the way, you should definitely be doing a really nice polish. I would definitely get microfiber, and I would definitely polish your table. You're not going to hurt anything. You want to get some microfiber. You want to get some polish, and you want to do these nice little round circular motions. Normally, when I spray the table, I don't let it sit on there. Normally, I spray half a table or a quarter of a table. I spray, and then I move all the polish. See what I do? This is normally how I do it, so you don't get spots. Because I'm talking on the phone with you, I got distracted. Normally, what I would do is I do a generous spraying. Okay, and then you're going to do basically I call it applying. We're going to apply the polish first. And you can be very generous with the polish. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of apply it everywhere. A little bit like a wax, but it's not. It's a polish, so you don't have to put a lot of elbow grease into it. You're just going to move it all around. Notice I'm not moving my rag. I want the rag to stay wet. So it's nice and streaky on purpose. I'm keeping it wet. I would definitely do this to your table, and you might want to do it more than once. And I would go around all that really good, soak it all up good. And no, you really don't want to hire someone to come in and do this. You need to come to terms with the table, not get scared of it. And sometimes a professional will come in there and just do too much, or they'll come in there and make things worse, Okay, so that's what I would be doing with your table. Then after you're done applying it with the wet rag, you want to come around with a dry one and polish it a couple times. And when you're done, your table is going to be evened out. You might just be totally good with that, but that's all you have going on there. Okay. So here I'm showing you this table, and I'm going to put a polarized filter on it. And this is almost showing you the difference between a matte finish and a glossy finish. So what happens when you do a glossier finish, you're generally cutting out a lot of the light refraction, if you will, off of those, You can see it's there we go. Okay, so that's what I was trying to show you. This is what happens when you eliminate some of the light. When you come on, the more matte finishes will have more light diffusing, refracting. But that's it. Okay.